and welcome to Sort of the Story. I'm Max.
Oh, I'm Janey. We've never done it that way before.
Yeah, I know. Switching it up today, gang.
Oh my gosh, guys, you know what? We got through 20 episodes, and now we're ready to fucking flip this on its head.
Yeah, we're jumping the shark.
This is now a podcast where we yell at you about inventions.
Mm-hmm. We invented some new technology earlier where I put a shirt in my shirt to see if it would change my voice. It didn't.
He truly just wore another shirt as a bib.
Yep. It's like a reverse cardigan.
Ooh. Anyway.
All right.
Welcome,
well, this
guys.
is... Hi. This is a podcast where we tell each other stories, and also you
are here.
Welcome.
We're
glad you're here.
for joining us. Yeah. So last week we did mythology. This week we're just kind of back to our old bullshit.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going first this week.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Okay, so let's just get into it.
Yeah.
All right, Max.
Okay, Janey.
Okay, Max.
Okay.
I said all right this week. It threw me off. Something happened this week, which I was so afraid you were going to do this story. Like, I was so afraid you were going to do this story. I was legitimately blocking out all news sites from, like, sharing things with you. No, I wasn't blocking news sites from sharing things. I wasn't sharing things with you on purpose.
You were calling Mr. CNN to ask him...
Excuse me, Mr. Guardian.
Please don't post any news so that my friend can't know what's going on.
Stop
just in case.
Posting news. I have not asked you for a single thing, Mr. The Guardian.
Stop giving us unsolicited news.
Didn't ask for your opinion, and the fact that you keep giving it clearly is against International Women's Day. And so yesterday, if you notice, nobody posted news out of respect for me.
Yeah.
And women everywhere.
Women hate news.
Women hate news,
You
unless
heard it
they
here
ask
first.
for it. Yeah.
Oh no! We broke the news that women hate news.
Oh
Are we sexist?
no! Oh, well, you are for sure.
Oh.
Anyway, so... I
Dang
love the news. In fact, I think the news is sexy. And other women who don't like the news, I think are bad women.
Second wave of anti-news feminism.
A real news pick-me. Okay, so something cool happened this week.
Mm-hmm.
On March 5th in Japan. So I'm going to talk to you about it.
Yay!
Yeah. Jennifer actually said, like, she, like, mentioned it in a thing, and I was like, oh, I'm in a live, and I was like, oh, Jennifer, I'm doing that story on Wednesday. I'm really excited to tell Max about it. And she's like, I sent Max the link to that. Tell her not to open it! I was like, oh my god. Well, anyway, so, that being said, today we are going to be going Japanese mythology. We're talking other yokais, specifically nine-tailed fox demons. And this is in the news in Japan. This is happening real time, March 5th. There may be a nine-tailed fox demon that has been released, and that is not at all, like, that's a real thing.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, okay. So, specifically, this nine-tailed fox demon is called Tamamo-no-Mae. And also, I am not going to be able to pronounce any of these things correctly. We are going back and forth between Japanese mythology and Chinese mythology. So the Chinese one, I'm going to have a better time. Japanese one, no idea. And I'm just going to fucking go for it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Fully in. If you're expecting me to be Japanese, why? What
Why would you expect that?
What? I can't.
Why would you just assume that...
You just assumed I'm Japanese? It's
That's
racist.
A weird thing to assume.
I'm Filipino, you racists. All right. Let's go into it a little bit before we even begin.
Yes.
Nine-tailed fox spirits, also called kitsune, originated in Chinese mythology, which I did not know. I thought they originated in Japan, but they're actually originally Chinese mythology, and they are just really clever, mischievous foxes. All right? They're really smart, and they get into stuff, and oftentimes they present as really beautiful women because they realized really beautiful women can cause a lot of shit to happen.
Strife.
They can make stuff happen. And also everybody loves to use a woman as a scapegoat, and the foxes are like, and that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, more like escape fox.
An escaped
fox.
Fucking get it. Well, that's
every woman is secretly an escaped fox.
honestly, and that's basically the headline of everything, is there's an escaped fox out there.
I did read the article, but I was half asleep.
It's a good one. I
thought it was a dream.
Nope. Okay, so
I don't remember the details. Go ahead.
So we're gonna start with one particular nine-tailed fox demon spirit, right? And her name is Tamamo-no-Mae, but we're starting out with her what women she was presenting as, okay? Because she's actually somebody in mythology that can be tracked across different, like, Asian cultures throughout time. They track her as the same spirit jumping from basically empire to empire, fucking shit up.
Damn.
So we're gonna start with Daji. Have you heard of Daji?
Mm-mm.
I was obsessed with Daji. You might have heard of her. Maybe you're just not, like, remembering the name. But, like, you might have. So, Daji was from a noble family in Yosu, and she was married to, or not married, but she eventually became the concubine to the king. His name is King Jo. He invaded Yosu, and he was like, Daji's beautiful, and, like, I'm going to take her as my concubine. And so that's how she came there, which is really fucked up.
Yeah.
Just...
Hot take.
That's a hot take, but he invaded someplace and then took this beautiful woman, and now he's one of her concubines. Like, it was like, everyone was like, this is one of our, like, greatest honors. You're welcome. And I'm like... That's fucked up.
You did say he's one of her concubines, which I like way more. If a king was like, a
Okay.
king found this beautiful woman and he was like, hey, can I be your concubine?
Reverse harem.
Yeah.
That being said, is he kind of was. So he became obsessed with her. Like, obsessed to the point of absolute madness. Like, he just stopped doing his job. Before then, he was, like, invading all these places and, like, spreading his territory.
Which was his job.
Yeah,
Minimum wage.
it was his job. And he was, like, a pretty good ruler, but after he got her as his concubine, he became obsessed with making her happy. And she was really good at being like, well, I'm not happy. What else you got? And so, like, he was, like, constantly having to one-up himself. He literally bought her a zoo. Yeah, the movie We Bought a Zoo is about them. So he bought her a zoo, and he filled it with all these super rare animals that nobody had ever seen. And she was like, great, what else? Then he made musicians compose, and this is a quote, lewd music for her.
Ooh.
And I'm like, just like a bunch of limericks? Except to body tunes? Like, what is this?
It's just, your body is a wonderland.
Ooh.
But
like, dirty.
Yeah. On, like, a zither, I guess.
Ooh.
I don't know.
So he like had musicians compose a bunch of, like, really lewd music to her. Then he made a pond of alcohol and a forest of meat. And I don't know what this means. I'm quoting these, and literally all of my notes say, what does that mean?
Is it like kebabs?
There's a forest of them. The pond of alcohol sounds kind of fun.
Yeah.
The forest of meat does not sound fun.
No, that's fun for about 5 minutes until the meat gets warm and starts to stink. Like,
yeah, everyone's, like, rushing to finish this forest of meat.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he has
Also, the presentation feels like it would take longer than it's worth.
100%. It's really weird. But also, he did not care. If something lasted for 5 minutes and then people had to deal with the scent of rotting flesh, it was, like, worth it to him that she would, for, like, 5 minutes, be entertained.
Impressed with his meat forest.
Yeah. Ew. So then at one point he has this, like, pond of alcohol, or they also call it, like, a wine lake. I assume they're the same thing, but what if he had these are two different things. So he has this, the wine lake would be bigger than the pond of alcohol, and it would feed into the ocean. So he has this wine lake, and he invites 3,000 guests to this wine lake, and they all are having a party. Then he announces that they're going to play the, quote, cat and mouse game, nude.
Oh.
Because she wanted to be amused. And so they have this 3,000 person nude orgy, basically. Everybody's running through the forest, they're butt naked, she's having the time of her life. This is exactly what, they're all, like, swimming in the wine lake.
Is the forest the meat forest?
Oh my god. Ew, a bunch of 3,000 naked people amongst a forest of meat.
A bunch of sweaty naked butts in a meat forest is like... That's
Sweaty naked butts in a meat forest is the
title of your autobiography.
Yeah, it is, but we're gonna put it on my tombstone. She died as she lived. A sweaty naked butt in a meat forest. So, I thought that was pretty wild. Then one of his other concubines was upset about this. She was like, hey, this is really unsanitary. All this meat is rotten. Also, it seems really gross to have a bunch of sweaty naked butts in the meat forest. Like, this other concubine was really upset by this. She was like, also, where are all these people from? Can you do your job? And so she, like, came forward and decided to be like, I don't think Daji is good. This is a hot take, but orgies in a meat forest are a bad. And he had her executed And Daji really wanted to be there, and she just clapped and laughed while this woman was being murdered. She was like, yay! Never
Happy day for Daji.
That wasn't what that's not where he ended, though, because Daji wasn't, like, happy with that entirely. She was like, not enough! So they ended up also grabbing this woman's father, grinding him up, and then feeding the ground meat to his vassals. I forgot to look up what a vassal was. I said it confidently, and then immediately I was like, what if she asked me what a vassal is?
I already know what a vassal is.
Please, thank you.
Your vassals are... Ooh, I might be thinking of the wrong thing, but I think it's just the people who you're, like, a minor lord over.
That's what I assumed.
Yeah, they're like they're, like, mostly, like, peasant farmers and stuff like that.
Gross.
Who you're supposed to be taking care of, but mostly you just tax.
But mostly we're just feeding them a bunch of meat of various sources. So he has murdered his concubine and also murdered her father for Daji. Daji, I don't know if this has been clear yet, is a straight up psychopath. She cannot get enough of orgies and, like, gluttony and murder and torture, and also she has this mind that, like, she really wants to know how everything works. And so, also, I forgot to say this, but there's going to be some trigger warnings in this story, especially Daji's story, because Daji was fucked up. We're starting off on a high note with this, so just really quick body horror trigger warnings. Like crazy.
We've already had a meat forest, and now we're getting into the trigger warning.
Now the trigger warning is here. Yeah, no, grinding up a man and feeding him to a bunch of peasant farmers is not even touching the iceberg on this. So she's a psycho. One time she saw a farmer, and he was walking across ice, but he was barefoot. And this is something he did all the time. He just didn't have feeling in his feet, I guess. But she was watching him do it, and she stopped what she was doing, and she's like, I want to know why his feet are different than my feet. And so she ended up capturing him and cutting off his feet. She, like, had his feet cut off because she wanted to study his feet. She's like, why are they different? And so, like, she literally took his feet from him and
What
then,
the
like,
hell?
set him free again. Yeah. And I'm assuming he bled out because, like,
Yeah,
there's no, like, care for this man. So that was the first thing she did. And we're going to go up another one. This is going to be the worst thing that she does. So I'm going to do this, and we're going to go down one from here. She sees a pregnant woman.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah. And she wants to know what's happening in there. And so she orders the pregnant woman's belly to be cut open so that she can see all of the inner workings of it. And so she can see, like, what's happening? Where does the baby go? Like, she's asking the questions, where do babies come from? Like a kid, but she's doing it like a psycho.
Yeah, show me where they I want to see.
Show me. I want to see everything. And obviously both the woman and the baby die.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, thankfully, because also can you imagine living through that?
Yeah.
No.
Just like a psychotic, like, terrible early medical scientist.
Yeah, she's just like, but also, like, she's just like, how does that work? Go ahead and torture that person because I have no care for any living thing. And remember, though, people also are starting to suspect there's something up with her. So she invents something.
Where did they get that idea from?
So one more thing that she does, just specific examples of specific people that she harmed, is there is a saying in Chinese that says a good man's heart has 7 apertures, right? So they're like, there's just 7 chambers in a good man's heart. Don't know why they think that.
No.
But that's something that they say. And so Daji was like, who's the best man I know? And it happened to be King Zhou's uncle. And she grabbed him and she had his heart cut out so that she could see for herself whether or not he had 7 apertures. I don't think he did, so...
No, it would be
she's like,
weird
well,
if he
then
did.
no big loss. So, she's murdering his straight-up family, like, important people, and King Zhou is like, she can do what she wants, so...
I also really like... I know that Joe is also, like, a traditional
you're thinking...
Chinese name, but just the idea of, like, King Joe, Joe.
No,
like,
it's
Joey!
It's Zhou, but also hilarious.
Yeah.
King Joe. Middle name Bob. So she went on to be an inventor, because she's innovative, okay?
Sure.
She invents something called the bronze toaster. And basically...
Why do I feel like I'm not gonna like what this is?
It's a big bronze cylinder that she has covered in oil. And then they put it over, like, burning coals, and they heat it up. So the bronze gets really, really, really hot. And then she would take people that she was punishing, and she would make them walk barefoot on the bronze cylinder. So it's already a curved round edge,
Hmm.
it is super hot and it's covered in oil. So when they get on it, they're still trying to balance, but it's so hot that they start to jump, like they have to like jump from foot to foot.
Hmm.
And they can't do that because they immediately slip off and they just fall into the coals, and then she watches them burn to death. Which is
Yeah.
such a fast way to do it. Can't, there's no way. Like, there's no way this was entertaining to me.
I
Like, they're on the bronze toaster for, like, maybe half a second. I feel like there's no way that they didn't immediately just fall off.
yeah, how do you even get on there? Like,
Yeah, who's putting them up there? Are they up there from the beginning and then it's just getting hot under their feet? They don't say. I'm just saying this is a bad invention and it cannot have been entertaining, but
No.
she is credited with inventing the bronze toaster.
how? I feel like it's not, you can't be an inventor if you make something that, like, only you will use and nobody else ever wants.
Yeah,
Ever
I don't
again.
know if the bronze toaster went on to be like a big torture technique, you know?
Yeah.
I cannot imagine it is. You could just set somebody on fire.
Yeah, you could just,
Why the fanfare of making them like slip?
yeah. Also, technically that wouldn't even be toasting. That would be like sautéing. So
Oh my
like,
god, another crime.
Yeah.
Not knowing your proper food terms.
I know. Like, just call it the bronze people sautéer.
Sharks, listen to this.
Hey sharks, we're here with a new idea for you. What if a frying pan, but worse and didn't make sense, and it's for murdering people? Hmm?
What if? Well, you don't have to wonder anymore because we've made one.
It's a tube, and you're on it, and it's hot.
Oh no!
What do you think? Sharks.
Dance for us. Okay, so eventually, this is gonna sound crazy, but King Joe has not been doing a good job, and so the Shang dynasty falls. Everybody blames Daji. And honestly, I know I'm telling a very biased story, but I do think it was her fault. Like she seems to really just be taking up a lot of his time and energy.
Yeah.
But also he's a fucking idiot. What a terrible guy. Like
Just a simp.
what a terrible guy. Anyway, so he's like, this is worth it. King Wu takes over and executes King Zhou. Then he also decides to execute Daji because everybody blames her for the fall of the Shang dynasty. And that's, I was joking, but that is bullshit. It's not her fault. She was shitty, but he was a bad ruler. It was his job, and he didn't do it.
Yeah.
That being said, the King Wu is like, I'm going to execute her and mount her head on a white flag to show everyone that she was the reason why this happened. And, you know, the reason is over now.
Why would you punish the person who put you in power?
Because, and I will say, thinking about this strategically from King Wu's point of view, most of this story was probably greatly exaggerated, right? Like, a lot of this probably wasn't as bad as they're saying, but saying that there was this really evil woman that, like, corrupted the king and stuff like that makes it really easy for King Wu to take over. Just strategically, this is what happened. So he takes over pretty easily. Other sources say that she didn't die from being beheaded, that she died from, this is a quote, suicide by strangulation. And I know they're talking probably about her hanging herself, but I'm imagining her physically with her hands strangling herself to death.
Just staring in a mirror and throttling herself like, you motherfucker.
You did this. Anyway, a little bit of suicide humor for you. This isn't for kids. Get out of here.
Get out of here, you little scamps.
Hey, you little scamps. So obviously people began to speculate that there was something up with Daji. They didn't have the term sociopath yet, and so they were like, oh, I bet she's a nine-tailed fox spirit. So this is considered kind of the first, like, job for this particular nine-tailed fox spirit.
So they were saying that...
This is Tamamo-no-Mae. They say that this fox spirit was the one that was basically inside of Daji, the one that was disguised as Daji, and specifically because she was so cruel, like that's what they do. And also it kind of makes sense with all of the curiosity, like how's that work? What's this? What is this thing? Daji is also credited for being the person who started foot binding. Because her feet were always bandaged because she had fox feet. She couldn't hide them. And because she was the emperor's concubine, it became this big thing. It became a huge fashion statement. Other women were like, she has really tiny feet. They're always bound. What is this? And Daji, of course, was probably like, break your feet. I would love to see it.
It'd be so hilarious.
Yeah. And so that's thought to be why they had foot binding for so long, was because it started with Daji.
She really is just the bad guy of victory.
Yeah.
Like, she's just the bad guy.
She's just the bad guy. So that's Daji, and she died. But this is not the end of Tamamo-no-Mae. I just kicked Max so hard.
So hard. My foot is on the ground, and it still somehow almost, like, did the reflex kick up. I don't know how that happened.
Mm-mm. So, sorry about that. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll live.
So after
You're not as strong as you think you are.
Oh, shit. Let me kick you again. Hold on. So after...
You think you can hurt me?
This is going to become a real violent podcast real fast. So after Daji was executed, the fox spirit that was inside of her, we're calling her Tamamo-no-Mae, even though later on she gets that name. I don't think that was originally her name. That's what they call her, though. The fox spirit then escapes, runs to the Magadha kingdom in India in 1046 BCE. So we're, like, really far away from today. Mm-hmm. But now she's in India. She was in China, now she's in India. There, she becomes a beautiful woman named Lady Kayo. Lady Kayo? Lady Caillou. Anyway, Lady Kayo, I'm going to call her. And Lady Kayo became the consort of the king Kalmashapada, also known in Japan as Hanzoku, which is much easier to say for me. But basically, now she's in India. She's another beautiful woman. She immediately gets the attention of the king there and is like, time to cause some trouble. She was so charming that she convinced her husband to eat children, to kill priests, and, according to Wikipedia, to cut off the heads of 1,000 people.
So charming.
You know when you're just so charming and you're so, like, girly?
Just girly things.
That you can convince your husband to eat children and cut off 10,000 people's heads?
That's girl bossing.
10,000? I meant 1,000. It's not as bad. He was dubbed the Man-Eater. That was his name.
Seems like she's the man-eater.
No, because he was the one eating all the people. Like, she was like, this would be so funny. You should just eat them. And I guess he got a taste for it. So then the story goes, the legend for Lady Kayo goes that she eventually ran out of children to eat, or her husband turned on her. And the reason why he turned on her is because he turned to Buddhism and was like, maybe it's not okay that I keep eating children and killing priests. Maybe I should be better. And then he looked at his wife and he's like, maybe you're the problem.
Maybe you should be better.
Interesting. And so Lady Kayo immediately flees. She's like, I gotta go, bye. And so now the fox spirit is like out there again, like skedaddled before they could execute her. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that we have two women that this myth says that Tamamo-no-Mae was controlling.
Yeah.
She was disguised her. I did look this up. Some of my sources said that this fox spirit would enter women's bodies, but from what I can tell, I think that she just disguises herself as beautiful women. Mm. I think that's what's happening. I don't think she's going in and possessing people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're going to go to Baosu. We're back here in China, and now it's 779 BCE, and Baosu becomes King You's concubine. So she's moving up again. She was beautiful, but she never smiled, and that made him infuriated. He just really wanted to make her happy, and she was impossible to make happy. So this is actually where we first get men saying, you'd be prettier if you smiled. That actually originates with Baosu.
The villain of history. I like that her name is Baosu, purely because it sounds a little bit like baozi, like the dumplings. Yeah, little pork dumplings.
Delicious.
This concubine's name is Dumpling.
Dumpling. It's her name, yeah. So, 779, Baozi is now a really bitchy concubine who never smiles, but the king's obsessed with her. She ends up convincing King Yo to depose his wife and make her the queen. So she's fully the queen. He becomes so evil trying to impress his new wife, whatever that means. And again, that's his fault. That is not her fault.
Yes.
She's definitely not helping situations, but he's making the choice to become evil and torture people to impress her. And eventually, after a very short amount of time, his own people just straight up turn against him. They're like, no, that's shitty. You don't get to do that to us just because you have a new wife who never smiles. Come on, dude. And so all his followers abandon him, and eventually they kill him. She was captured, and the whole Western Zhou dynasty has now ended. She's ended another dynasty.
Jesus.
And legend has it that Tamamo-no-Mae has escaped yet again, and she goes on to commit more evil.
It's really interesting to me that she is not possessing or taking on the guise of the rulers.
I think she's specifically a female.
Yeah, I don't
know if she can take on male personas. I think that's why. She's literally having to get as close to ruling as she can. But she can't just, like, become a queen, you know? She has to, like...
It's just interesting. Like, but her aspiration isn't to become the ruler. Like, she doesn't, like,
this
marry
one was
the king and then kill him.
Ooh. Well, wait, let's hold on.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that she's influencing rulers rather than, like, ruling directly. And she's also not doing most of this stuff herself. She's making them do it.
So we are also watching, I think, a trajectory of her learning. Yeah. So this is another thing that makes Tamamo-no-Mae pretty terrifying, is she starts out as curious Daji. She's like, what's going on with this? I want to know more of this. And she's having a lot of fun, and there's orgies. She's getting worse. Weirdly, from Daji, she does get worse, and I do think she's hungering for power, because in this one, she convinces the emperor to depose his wife, and now she's queen. Who knows what she would have done if she had, like, stayed in power? I don't think he would have made it.
Yeah.
Also, because they're not, like, this is why I don't think that they're actually possessing people, because otherwise she would just go into a king, you know?
Yeah. That would make sense.
She's having to, like, work her way in. So... we're about to get to what's going to answer some of our questions. Tamamo-no-Mae, specifically. So, she was quiet for almost 300 years. She stopped being Bausa. She has ended 3 dynasties now. Well, she's ended 2 dynasties, and then, like, the one in India, he went to Buddhism, so saved himself. And now she's been quiet for 300 years. And then one day, she appears again. She disguises herself as a baby girl on the side of the road. So there's just an abandoned child, like infant, on the side of the road. And this couple finds her and they take her home. And they raise her as their own daughter and they name her Mikazumi. Mikazumi was bright and beautiful, so beautiful that everybody immediately falls in love with her. She also, like, absorbs knowledge like a sponge. Like, she's so good at languages, she's so good at history, she's really curious, like, and everybody's always constantly just impressed by her because she's impressive. She's kind of a badass. So everyone falls in love with her, and eventually she's taken to the palace to serve the royal family. And through that, you know, everybody starts to fall in love with her, and the king himself is like, I love this girl, like, pretty great. So eventually she also becomes the king's concubine, I'm pretty sure. So once they had a poetry recital in her honor. So they really like her. They're doing, like, whole recitals and performances in her honor. They have musicians there and poets. And during this recital, all of the candles in the room go out at the same time. Like, a big wind comes through and snuffs out all the candles, and they're all left in complete darkness. Suddenly, Mikazumi starts to glow from within. And so, even though it's in complete darkness, everybody can see because she is emitting a light from her body. And instead of being what we in the Western world would have done, which is immediately like, witch! Everyone else is like, she's a genius! And I don't know what that means.
She invented glowing.
Oh my god, she invented the glow. And now makeup everywhere is trying to emulate her.
Yeah, she invented hyaluronic acid. Her skin is luminescent, literally.
Can we talk about that? A highlighter, though. So they rename her Tamamo-no-Mae. Did I look up what it meant? No. You did? What's it mean? Oh, I think it means little duckling. I don't think I made that up. Anyway, we'll look it up after. So Emperor Toba, who's the emperor at the time, he's, like, really smitten with her, and then he makes her his consort. So now she's his consort, right? He's like, she glows? So tell me more. Immediately after he makes her his consort, he starts having her around all the time. He falls ill. He gets real sick.
Interesting.
I know, it's just really weird.
Interesting.
I'm just saying it's a little, like, it's worth noting. They send in all of the court physicians, and nobody can tell what's wrong with him. So they send in an Onmyoji. Onmyoji. It's a spiritual healer. They send in a spiritual healer to come in. So the spiritual healer comes in, takes one look at him and says, like, oh, he has a bad omen on him. The only thing we can do for him is pray. And so everybody starts to pray for him. And weirdly enough, prayer isn't medicine. Weird.
Thoughts and prayers.
So the Onmyoji was called again after the prayers didn't work, and he discovers Tamamo-no-Mae was short. Like, what he says is, oh, Tamamo-no-Mae, your new consort, this beautiful girl that you're so smitten with, is shortening your lifespan so that she can become the emperor. And he says she's actually a kitsune in disguise. And everyone's like, what? But we love her. And the emperor is like, yeah, there's no way. That's not real. It's just not real. I'm sorry. I'm dying from something else. And the guy's like, all right, well, we could test her. And the emperor's like, how? And he's like, there's a way to test on whether or not she's actually a kitsune. Like, it's no harm, no foul if she's not. And the emperor is like, all right, I guess we could do a test. And so this test, basically, to save him, they perform the Taizan Fukun no Sai. I said that perfectly. Basically Japanese.
No notes.
The most secret and most powerful spell known to the Onmyojo. So basically they're like, we have this super secret spell. It's the most powerful one we know. We're going to perform it. But Tamamo-no-Mae is supposed to perform the first part of the ritual. They're like, you're going to be the one to do it. And she's like, oh, what? I'm not a spiritual healer, so why would I do that? And they're like, because, like, you have to do it because you're the closest to the emperor. And basically, an evil spirit can't do such holy work. And so they're like, this is a way to test her. Because if she's not an evil spirit, then she's just going through the motions, and then we'll have the ritual performed. If she is, then we'll find out really fast because she cannot physically do this thing. So, honestly, much better than, again, us in the West testing out witches. They're not, like, throwing her to a lake and being like, oh, she didn't die? Witch.
Time to die.
Time to die. So, she wants to refuse, but it would look really suspicious if she did, so she's forced to go through the ritual. And she dresses really beautifully, and everybody's like, wow, she still looks great. That contouring is, mwah, chef's kiss. She recites the words perfectly, and she does a beautiful job. And then, just as the ritual is finished, she disappears into thin air. And I imagine her dress just falls down, and they're like, ah, she was a kitsune! And so everybody's really upset. Soon after, she's gone now, the emperor kind of starts to get a little bit better, and everybody's freaking out because this girl that they were all in love with ended up being a nine-tailed fox spirit, which was a huge surprise.
Hate it when that happens.
I hate it! Soon after this, women and children start to go missing in a village nearby. They're just disappearing into thin air.
Interesting.
I don't know. The emperor is like, she's out there still, and now we've basically released her onto the villages. We need to get her. So he picks his two greatest warriors, right? And they're like, we would love to go do this for you, Emperor. It'd be our honor. And they take an army of 80,000 men. And I'm like, wait! What? Why?
Wow.
Two really good warriors.
That's a really big, some of you may die, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make energy.
100%. Like, can you imagine being one of the 80,000 men that are like, wait, what's our mission? We're just going after one lady?
Yeah.
Why am I here? Can I go home? So they hunt her down for days and days, which is also a really short amount of time to have an 80,000 person army. But they hunt her down, but they cannot find her. And just as they're getting tired, right, but they're still hunting her down, and just as they're getting tired, one of the warriors has a dream. And in his dream, this beautiful woman comes to him, and she's crying. And she's like, tomorrow, you're gonna kill me. And I didn't do anything wrong, and I'm so sorry for all the trouble I caused. It wasn't my intention. And you don't have to kill me because I'm just a pretty lady. She's like, look at me, I'm so cute. I'm so cute, and you're gonna kill me? Look at my cute little tails. How dare you? And so she's just crying to him and begging him not to kill her, but he's like, absolutely not. I am a warrior, okay? And me and my 80,000 men are gonna kill you. And she's like, no, that sounds terrible.
I wish you wouldn't.
And so the next day, just as she predicted, they catch up to her, and they end up killing her. They do it by, like, shooting her with arrows. It's, like, really, I didn't even include that part in here, because I was just like, They just kind of, like, kill her with mortal weapons?
Yeah, 80,000 arrows.
Why are the men there? It's not like she's putting up this big of a fight. Like,
they could literally make, like, a human barricade, like,
with, like
5 miles around. Yeah, just...
They could have 5 people stand in a row, and she wouldn't be able to get past them. Like, it's just annoying. So she is killed, and it's great. However, right after she dies, Emperor Toba does end up dying. It turns out he was sick.
Oh.
Yeah, so he dies.
Separately, and then, also additionally sick.
Yeah, so now this emperor, like, this empire is, like, reeling from the death of their emperor, right? In the next nearby empire, Emperor Kono dies, and he's heirless. So he does not have an heir, and we have 2, at the exact same time, randomly, right after she dies, 2 empires that have nobody on the throne.
Just a power vacuum.
Yes. And so this creates absolute chaos. There's a rivalry. The 2 kingdoms go to war. This leads to the Genpei War. It's the end of the Heian period, and it's the rise of the first shoguns. So, like, right after she dies, a huge amount of shit shit happens and the whole world is changed forever. And they still blame her even though she died. It's just like a really weird coincidence. And after that, they say that Tamamo-no-Mae's spirit was said to have gone into a boulder. Like, literally, there's this big old rock, and it goes into this big old rock, okay?
Sure.
Now, they called this the Sessho-seki. It's the killing stone. And it's a real boulder. It's a huge one, and it's filled with sulfuric acid. And sulfuric gases. And so they say that, like, the legend had it that for, like, 900 years, anybody who touched it would die immediately. And that her spirit was in there, and it was haunting it, and it was, like, reaching out and, like, snatching souls and shit. And so they took this very seriously. It's a real rock. They roped it off. You can walk right up to it and take selfies, but you can't, like, touch it, because it's filled with sulfuric gases. It's right next to a bunch of hot springs.
So just touching the outside of it?
Yeah, coming into contact with it. It says, the legend has it, it'll kill you immediately.
Shit.
So nobody would go up and touch it, obviously.
I want to.
Well, you can't, because on March 5th, somebody went up. You can hike up to see this boulder, right? It's pretty famous. It has all of these legends attached to it. Legends attached to historically significant people. Somebody walked up Monday, March 5th. We're doing this on Wednesday, March 9th.
That sounds right.
Sunday, March 5th, I guess. I lost a day this week. So, on March 5th, somebody went up to go take a selfie with this and found the stone was split in two. It's open now. Oh my god, she's here! So that was our cats, really channeling the spirit of Tamamo-no-Mae. The stone is... God damn it, cats! So the stone is now open. Here's a picture.
Ooh.
This is the stone. It has been cut in two. Now, they do think this happened naturally. They're like, it was filled with sulfuric gases. The date of the stone, like, they can literally, like, track it back 900 years of the stone being full of, like, sulfuric gases. So they're like, it probably just did this on its own.
Yeah.
But because it has 900 years worth of legends surrounding it, people are freaking the fuck out about this stone. It was called the Killing Stone, and now it is open. In the year of our Lord 2022, and we're not, let's be clear, things are only getting worse anyway.
Yeah, there was that whole thing, like, they opened up a cursed mummy's sarcophagus, like, a little while ago, and then, like, they found a bunch of stuff at the bottom of the ocean that they weren't supposed to find, and, like, we're going ham on,
cursed
apocalypses.
Oh my god, 100%.
This is like in, Cabin in the Woods, where all the
monsters are released at once.
Yeah, and so all of the bad things are, like, happening almost at the same time, and it's just a question of, like, which one is gonna get there first. Kind of what it feels like.
It does feel like that. Guys, let's all watch Cabin in the Woods.
Let's all watch Cabin in the Woods
Honestly,
together.
Do it.
Phenomenal movie.
So now we have a brand new bad thing released. Everyone is convinced that Tamamo-no-Mae has escaped, may wreak havoc again, and so we're all just on the lookout for a beautiful woman come to fuck things up. Please, God, let it be, like...
in a fun way.
Yeah, let it be like AOC come to, like, completely socialize America. Let that happen.
Ooh. Probably don't want to promote the idea that she's an evil fox spirit.
Unless we're on her side now. Unless we're on Tamamo-no-Mae's side. We just need to shake stuff up.
I love that Tamamo-no-Mae has a, like, classic serial killer progression. Like, starts off experimenting on, like...
Yeah, she's figuring out her MO.
Exactly. And then she, like, moving forward, realizes it's more difficult if there's, like, pushback, if she's recognized as evil too early. And so then she, like, develops her MO to be more like, oh, I'm so nice and cute, look at me. You should be nice to me. And then, like, uses that to get close. This is her becoming a serial killer, and it's fascinating. I love
will
it.
say, with the last one, with all the other ones, she presents herself as an absolute psycho. I like how in the last one, they're like, when she finally comes up again, she starts as a baby. She starts as a child and then gains everyone's favor. She doesn't just show up one day as a beautiful woman. She, like, she puts herself in there so everyone's like, it can't be her. And then she just slowly starts poisoning him. It's not like she was, like, convincing him to do terrible things in this last one. In fact, so much so that it's almost doesn't fit the pattern. But then again, she took 300 years to figure out a way to gain power in a way that didn't, bring attention to her.
Yeah. God, so fascinating. I love the idea of, like, a 3,000-year-old I don't love the idea of it, but I think
This is hard.
it is very interesting to think about the concept of a 3,000-year-old serial killer who is trying to take over the world.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, no, this is literally combining mythology, history, science, and current events.
And crime.
And crime. I mean, yeah, it's everything. It's the... Mwah.
Yeah.
It's a perfect elixir of scary stories.
Tasty, tasty.
Yeah. If you guys want to know more about this, I did get some information on yokai.com, but also there's a Guardian article, and we'll link both of them in the show notes for this episode. Good. I'm going to take a break.
Yeah, I also, really quickly, Jeannie showed me this picture of this rock, and there are, like, it is just a bunch of really big rocks that are all together, and then there's one that looks like every other really big rock.
It's slightly larger than the rest, but, like, people
that one's pretty big, too, though.
For 900 years... Yeah, but it's also closer to us. It's the biggest one in the field. But for 900 years, people have roped off this particular rock. Like, there was no way that this was going to go unnoticed, you know?
Yeah, it's in Norway. I think it's Norway. I obviously haven't done any research on this because it's not one of our stories this week, but it's the wee folk are said to inhabit this big boulder, and they try to like explode it basically so that they could build a highway through it. And anytime they tried to destroy it, like crazy shit would happen on the worksite where like they would like try and hit it with like you know, like construction equipment, and like as it got close to the stone, the construction equipment would just stop working and nobody could fix it. And so they would like and so then like they would take the construction equipment elsewhere to have like specialists look at it, and as soon as it was far enough away from the rock, it would just start working again. They tried to take it apart with like hammers and like chisels and stuff like that, and like chisels would just break. And it's because this specific rock is said to be like what like in Irish mythology is like a fairy mound or something like that. It's a boulder that the wee folk inhabit, and so they had to like, I mean, it's huge. It's the kind of boulder that you have to explode to put a road through, and then this is with
all of the mythology behind this, you would think this would be a much more impressive boulder. Yeah, it reminds me a little bit too of the rock at the site of the Oracle of Delphi. You know, the one like Kronos swallowed a rock instead of Zeus, and then when Zeus came to like battle him, he like gave him a cosmic punch in the stomach and he threw up the big rock. That's a really big rock. Like that's a huge boulder at the site.
I think it's called the Omphalos.
Omphalos. That's the sound that he made when he was cosmically punched in the stomach.
Well, so the Omphalos the idea is that it's at the center of the world is the Omphalos. Like all the rest of the world stretches away from the Omphalos. It's considered like a site of great power, but it's where we get the word like umbilical cord comes from the root of omphalos, because the navel is the center of the body. Cute. And it's like the source of like when you're born, you have your umbilical cord, and that's like where you get your energy from, you know, being in the womb. And so the idea is that the omphalos stone is like that for the earth.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, so important rocks. They're also huge. They're impressive. And they're separated too. This one truly is a big boulder, but it's amongst a bunch of other slightly smaller boulders. But they knew which one it was, because I guess it was one of the ones that was just emitting the most poisonous gases.
They looked at the rock and they were like, that rock's fucking evil.
That's a bad rock.
There was all these rocks, fine. That rock is a terrorist.
There's a story that that one does not give me any good vibes.
Bad vibes from that rock.
So there is a story of like a priest walking by and sitting on the rock and having a conversation with Tamamo-no-Mae. She was like, I want to kill. And he was like, what if you didn't? She was like, I wanna. And he's like, get out of here. And she was like, fine. But then she goes back into the rock. Like, I didn't look up the full story because it really wasn't that interesting, but it just makes me laugh of him being like, yay, whoa. And I think he's the one that said, she's in here.
I also like the idea of, like, you know the meme of, like, the car salesman slapping the top of a car? It's like someone walking up to the rock and being like, this baby can hold so many stones. And then they drop dead.
And then they just die. Oh, man.
Souls, not stones. You said souls. I did?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I feel crazy.
That was sort of the story of Tamamo-no-Mae.
Hell yeah.
Yay! And we'll keep you updated on whether or not anybody evil comes up.
Yeah, keep an eye out for hot ladies who want you to do murder.
God damn it. This is everything that's wrong with sexism. This is also again, I need to stress this one more time. The fact that these women existed doesn't mean that they are the reason why the empires fell. They were evil on their own, but they had no real power. The fact that the emperors all decided to eat babies seems a little bit like we should be blaming them more.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more.
Just a little bit.
Anyway,
fair enough.
And that's it. So if you see any men eating babies, let's...
Ask about their girlfriends.
Ask about what's up with their mistresses. Tell us more, you baby eaters.
Walk up to a guy who is eating a baby and say, hey man, are you single?
Oh my god! Oh, and then it turns out you are Tamamo-no-Mae.
Oh, no.
Oh, we would never. Oh, we're just silly girls.
Just a couple little silly cows. Okay, that was sort of story.
Oh, bye! Oh wait, break.
There's another one.
There's another one. Break! Okay, Max.
Okay, Janey. So I have a tale for you today.
I'm so happy to hear that.
I know, right? Can you
believe it? Oh my god,
it?
I was really worried that you were going to be like, anyway, tell me another story.
This is the story about the time that I completely dipped out of this podcast and Janey had to tell 2 stories. So this story comes to us from Haiti. This book I just got is called The Magic Orange Tree and Other Haitian Folktales by Diane Wolkstein.
It's also a beautiful little book.
It really is. So this is a collection of Haitian folk stories. Something really cool about this is that the cover of this book, it says the title and then it says collected by Diane Wolkstein instead of like written by or yeah exactly, because she's not the author, she just collected the stories, which I think is really cool that she's like, these aren't my stories, I just collected them.
Love it.
Like a little detail that I really like. I'm gonna talk a whole lot about her at the end because I'm in love with her.
Great.
Every story in this collection, the beginning of, there are 27 stories in it, and at the start of each of the stories, she describes the situation in which she heard it. So she describes the people who told it, like physically and also as storytellers.
Nice.
And talks about like who else was listening to the story, how they reacted, where they were, like what circumstances she was in that she was encountering the story and stuff like that. It's a really cool way of doing like ethical folklore.
Yeah.
To be like, this is exactly how it happened, and this is the exact person and their circumstances when they told it to me.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's really cool. And she also, her descriptions of like the storytelling events are amazing.
Cool.
One of the things that she talks about in the introduction is that specifically in Haitian storytelling, there is a tradition where when someone wants to tell a story, they say creek, and then if the people that they're talking to want to hear the story, they say crack.
Cool.
So it's like a call and response. So if you say creek and nobody says crack, you don't tell the story.
They're not interested. You really got to put yourself out there.
But it's also like, if you say crack to someone's story, you have to like pay attention. You're saying like, I'm in this. Like I am 100% here to hear this story. So like if you're cooking or something and someone were like creek, you'd be like, no, not right now. She also talks about these storytelling is a massive part of like Haitian culture. There's a term, it's French, maître conte, which is a storyteller who basically their job is to be a storyteller. People don't pay them, but they're paid in like food and lodging. So they're just these like storytellers that travel around telling stories, and then they get like their food and lodging from telling the stories, which I think is just really cool.
Yeah.
It literally translates to like a master storyteller or like a master singer kind of.
Cool.
Which is just great. It's like kind of like a bard, I guess. Or
yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Just really interesting. I really liked that little detail. It was like an official job in the 18th century was to be a like bard storyteller in Haiti, which I think is fascinating.
Yeah.
But she also talks about like the stories that she collected. The intro, she says, there was a very famous storyteller who people had been, he was a maître conte who people had been talking about. Like, she was like, hey, do you know of any maître contes that I can hear a story from? And they were like, oh, there's this guy and he might be here like sometime this summer. So like, you have to see him basically, but he's the best storyteller. And she talks about, he was like he was a performer.
Yeah.
But because he was focusing so much on the performance, his story was less interesting. So, like, at the same time...
Because she was also there not for the performance of sitting there. She was there for the story.
Exactly. So she was saying, like, people came from all around to Port-au-Prince, where he was, to see him perform and everything. And it was, like, a party, basically, where he was, like, dancing around and, like, doing voices, and everyone was getting really into it. But the actual stories themselves, when you put them down on paper, just don't have all that much to it. And she talks about this other guy who was a storyteller in Port-au-Prince at the same time, and he would, like, creak, and people wouldn't crack back because he was a bad performer, but he had the best stories. Yeah, so a lot of her stories are from people like that who, like, don't have the...
I hate the idea of somebody creaking and nobody cracking back.
Yeah, she does say, like, it's not like it's kind of a respect thing, but it's also, if you're telling a story, if everyone in town knows that you are, like, a rambler, nobody's gonna crack your story. You know what I mean?
I guess, like, on the other side, it's nice to have a choice.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also, I really like the, like, consent aspect of it, of, like, hey, do you have time to hear this story right now? Like, are you in a place to hear a fun story?
Yeah.
Which is just cool. Anyways, so that's that. Just a little bit. She's fascinating. I love her as a folklorist and a storyteller.
She sounds amazing.
Yeah, and I'll talk more about her later. I know I already just talked about her for like 10 minutes, but she's fascinating and I can't wait to tell you. So, the story that I'm telling today is called The Master Thief.
Cool.
She visited this doctor, and the doctor's son, Willie, told her this story, and she thought it was kind of weird. Like, the ending seemed, like, kind of rushed. And so, like, a couple weeks later, she was like, hey, can you tell me that story again? And he told it exactly the same way, almost verbatim. So she was like, oh, he didn't, like, forget the ending. That's just how it goes. And she was like, he told the story so verbatim. Like, he laughed at the same parts and everything like that. This is a story that he's heard and told dozens and hundreds of times, which I think is fascinating. She talked to his mom also, and she was like, this is the story that I told him, and, like, all of the details are accurate. This is a story that we've been telling for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So, our story begins with a wealthy man who has 3 sons. The oldest son comes of age and he tells his father, I want to be a lawyer. And his father says, that is fine. And he sends him to law school, right? The oldest son becomes a successful lawyer. The second son tells his father that he wants to become a tailor. And his father says, that is also fine.
I love we're going from law school to being a tailor. And he's like, great.
Yeah, because these are all, like...
Fashion designer.
Yeah. These are, like, skilled jobs.
Yeah.
And he, again, is, like, a very wealthy man. And so he has lots of connections. He sends his second son to apprentice under the best tailor that there is in Haiti, basically. And so he becomes a very successful tailor. His third son comes of age, and he tells his father, Father, I would like to be a thief. His dad says, I'm sorry, I don't think I heard you right. What did you just tell me? And he says, no, you heard me right. I would like to be a thief. And his dad is like, I've spent years putting you through school so that you can get your education. I have gone without so that you can have opportunities. You can, make something of yourself. And now you're telling me that instead of getting a real job, you want to be a thief. And his son is like, yes.
That's what I said.
Yeah, he says, one can only work according to one's abilities. So he's like, I'm not going to do something I'm not good at. I'm good at being a thief, so I'm going to do that.
A rich kid who wants to steal things is not a good fucking look, dude.
So his father is like, I don't know, how do you want me to make you a thief? And he's like, well, there's the boss shoemaker in town, and everyone knows that he's, like, sketchy. So you could apprentice me to him, and I'll become a thief. And so his father is like, fine, I guess. And so he apprentices his son to the boss shoemaker, and he says, teach him everything you can. And the shoemaker is really surprised, because this is, like, a very wealthy, influential man, and he's, like, a shoemaker, he kind of, like, barely makes ends meet most of the time. But he's like, yeah, I mean, absolutely, I would gladly take an apprentice. So the son begins to apprentice under this shoemaker, and he quickly learns sort of the way that the business works. So people come in, they bring him their shoes that need repairs, or...
This man has a job.
Hang on.
Okay, go ahead.
So they bring in shoes that need, like, repairs, or, like, if they lose a shoe, they ask him to make, like, another one to match the one that they still have and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the way that his business works is that they drop off their shoes, and he tells them it's going to be ready on Friday. And they come back on Friday to pick up the shoes. And he's like, oh, I actually meant next Friday, so you're gonna have to be patient.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay. So they leave, and then they come back the next Friday, and he's like, it's almost done. Like, it'll be ready, like, tomorrow. And then they, like, leave, and they come back tomorrow, and he's like, you just have to be patient. All right, we're doing the best we can.
What the heck?
And he keeps pushing that, like, being like, you have to be patient. Come back later.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have it ready for you. Or, like, you misunderstood me. I said it was going to be later. It's not ready yet. And he keeps doing this until people give up. Like, they pay him up front to do the repairs and stuff, and then he keeps pushing it back further and further and further, and people can't
how is
not
he still
have
in
shoes.
business?
I don't know.
Like,
but people can't not
this
have
was
shoes.
before Yelp reviews.
So eventually they just get impatient and they go and, like, buy new shoes from somewhere, or they just, like,
ask
give
for
up
their money back.
And so then he goes and he takes the shoes and he does repair them, and then he sells those shoes. So
holy shit,
he's getting paid twice.
Yeah.
It's a con. I mean, it's like it's a bit of a shell game.
And everybody knows this enough for this kid to be like, that's who I want to work for.
Yeah, but he still gets work somehow. I guess there aren't really any other, like, shoemakers in town or something. Anyways,
Well, he's also not a shoemaker then, because he's not helping them in any way.
So the kid learns to, like, man the desk and learns to be like, next week. It'll be ready next week for sure. And that's kind of his job.
Okay.
And unfortunately, though, like, sometimes people are more patient than the shoemaker plans for. And so, you know, he might have to push things back to, like, a month or 2 months or whatever. And so then he can't sell those shoes yet because they haven't given up on him yet. And they're still coming back and checking in. So he's not making money. Mm-hmm. So during this one period, the people are being particularly patient, which is not my experience in customer service, but I suppose it could happen.
This is a bunch of millennials are dealing with him, and they're like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, and here's the 20% tip.
So people are being unusually patient, which means that he's not making any money.
Mm-hmm.
So the shoemaker and his apprentice are living off of basically, like, dry rice, like boiled rice, but, like, no sauce, no meats, no anything. Mm-hmm. And so one day the two of them are sitting by the side of the road with their little pot of rice, and the apprentice is like, you're bad at this. Mm-hmm. Like, my dad, we had meat with our rice every day for lunch and dinner, and we would also have, like, potatoes and bananas and stuff like that. So, like, this sucks. And the shoemaker's like, look, man, like, this is how the business works. Like, you can't, this is how we make money, and it doesn't always work. You know, you have to accept that going in. And so the apprentice is like, I don't think I do have to accept that, actually. That's true. I think you just suck. Mm-hmm. As they're having this conversation, they see a man walking down the road towards the marketplace, and he's leading a goat on a lead, and he's taking the goat to the marketplace. Mm-hmm. And so the shoemaker's apprentice looks at the goat, and he says, don't worry, we're going to be eating goat tonight.
Oh.
So, what he does, he takes one of the best boots that the shoemaker has.
Okay.
One of them.
All right.
And he goes up the road, and he runs up, he puts the boot in the middle of the road ahead of this peasant who is leading the goat, right? Mm-hmm. So the peasant, he, like, hides in the bushes, and then the peasant walks down the road, and he sees the one boot in the middle of the road. And he's like, huh, that's weird.
Yeah.
And he keeps walking. And then the apprentice runs back out, grabs the shoe off the road, runs forward so that he's ahead of the peasant again, and puts the shoe in the middle of the road. Mm-hmm. So the peasant leading his goat sees this second shoe, he thinks, in the middle of the road, and he thinks to himself, these are beautiful boots, and I just saw one just like this one earlier back on the road. I could just have a nice pair of free boots.
Oh no.
So he ties up his goat, and he leaves the boot in the middle of the road, which the storyteller is like, what a dum-dum. He leaves the boot, he ties up his goat to a nearby tree, which is, what is it called? There's a name for it, it's like an evil tree. The Mapu tree. Mm-hmm. It's sort of obliquely referenced that the Mapu tree means, like, an evil tree. I don't know what that means. Sure. But he ties the goat up to the Mapu tree, and he leaves the boot in the middle of the road, and then he walks back to where he saw the first boot. Obviously, the first boot isn't there, and while he's gone, the apprentice takes the boot back and unties the goat and brings it back to the shoemaker.
A pretty good thief.
Yeah. And then they have goat. They have enough goat to last them for a week.
What if that was his pet?
I know. This made me really sad. So the shoemaker is like, that was some clever thieving. And he's like, yeah, I'm good at this. Mm-hmm. You should be better at this. You're bad at teaching me how to do this because I'm better at it than you.
Now the apprentice is going to become the master.
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
So A week later, the goat is starting to run out. They're having just like a few scraps with their rice every day. And they haven't gotten any more money, right? People are still being really patient. So like pickings are getting scarce again. They're sitting by the side of the road in the same place again. And they see the same peasant farmer leading another goat down the road to the market. The apprentice says, we're going to be having goat again. Hope you're not sick of goat, because we're getting more goat.
Yeah.
And so he goes and he hides behind the mapu tree, ahead on the road from where the farmer is walking. And then when the farmer gets to the mapu tree, the apprentice from behind the tree starts to bleat like a goat. So he's like, ah! And the farmer's like, oh my god,
classic
my
goat sound.
My goat that I lost.
Yeah. Oh no! God, what if this was his pet?
So he really quickly, he ties the second goat up to the mapu tree.
Good God.
And the apprentice keeps bleeding, and he runs further into the woods, right? And the farmer's chasing him. He's like, here, goat. Come here, goat.
Oh my God. I'm so sad.
So the apprentice leads him further and further into the woods. And then he doubles back and he gets back to the road. And he unties the second goat from the mapu tree and takes it back to the shoemaker. And they have goat for another week.
Good God.
Meanwhile, the peasant gets back to the mapu tree, finds that his second goat is missing. And he's like, oh my God. This evil tree is turning my goats invisible.
Oh no!
Which I think is just hilarious. He does not come back as a character, by the way. It's just, that is the end of his story. Is him being like, oh my god, my goats are invisible because of a tree.
Good God.
I love it. So
it's so sad.
So they have goat for another week.
Sure.
And the shoemaker is like, that was really good. Like, you're great. I feel like you deserve your diploma soon in being a thief. And the boy is like, hell yeah, I do. Like, I'm clearly a master thief already.
Yeah.
And anyways, he's a huge bitch.
Sure.
So the following week, the shoemaker sends his apprentice into town, into the marketplace, and he gives him 1 gourd, which is a monetary unit.
Sure.
It equals 20 centimes.
Okay.
Just for mathematical purposes.
Great.
Yes. And he sends him, and he says he has to, he asks his apprentice, he says, I need you to get beans, rice, spices, and wee-eye. Right? And the apprentice is like, cool, done. So the apprentice goes into the marketplace. He pays 15 centimes for rice, beans, and spices, which means that he has 5 left over.
Yeah.
And he's like, cool. 5 left over for the wee-eye.
Yeah.
And he asks around, he's like, hey, do you have any wee-eye? And all of the vendors in the market are like, we don't know what that is. And he's like, oh, cool. So...
I was gonna say, it didn't sound real.
Yeah. So he's like, nobody has any wee-eye. And everyone's like, we don't know what that is, and so we're pretty sure we don't have it.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, well, I guess I have 50 or 5 centimes left over, so I'm gonna get myself some candy. So he gets himself a little candy treat with the remaining 5 centimes, and he heads back towards the shoemaker's hut. On the walk home, just outside the gate of the shoemaker's like house/store, he passes shadek tree. It's a French word. It's a variant of grapefruit. Sure, basically.
Delicious.
So he passes by this shadek tree, and he remembers he's eaten shadek before, and he remembers he accidentally ate part of the pit, and it was really like peppery and spicy.
Oh,
right. So what he does, he takes a single shadek off of the shadek tree, and he peels it open, and he takes out a couple like bits of the pit, and he puts them in his pocket. And then I assume he eats the shadek, or maybe just leaves it on the ground because he's a rude rich boy.
That's rude.
So he puts the bits of the pit into his pocket and goes into where the shoemaker is. And he says, boss, I got everything you wanted. Here are all the groceries. And then as he's like unloading things, he looks at the shoemaker and he's like, oh my God, you look so sick. Are you all right? And the shoemaker's like, I think so. And he's like, quick, stick out your tongue. Let me make sure you're not sick. And so the shoemaker, without thinking, sticks out his tongue, and the apprentice puts the pits on his tongue really quickly. And they're super spicy. Yeah. And so the shoemaker goes, wee-eye! Because they're so spicy. And so
oh my God.
The apprentice is like, there you go. That's your wee-eye. And the shoemaker is like, wow, you did it. Well, you got me the wee eye.
Wait, so that was his plan?
Yeah. Well, he was like, he basically was being like, you have to learn to be crafty.
Yeah.
And so he was like, you tricked me. You got me. Good job. And so he gives him his thief's diploma.
Good.
Which is great. I imagine that there's like a graduation ceremony where they like...
he invites his parents.
He doesn't invite his parents.
Okay, no.
So he graduates from thief school / shoemaking artist residency. And he starts to go back home, but then he realizes his parents probably aren't going to approve of his chosen career path.
Okay, but his dad knew.
Yeah, but like, he's not going to be super impressed that his son has a diploma in being a thief.
Yeah.
He's like, so probably shouldn't go home yet. So what he does, his father has many, many kilometers of land that his house sits on.
Yeah.
So the son goes and he builds a tiny hut on the very, very edge of the property, right? And over time, he keeps pulling these cons. He makes more and more and more money, and he keeps building his little hut up until it's bigger and bigger and nicer, until it's a big, beautiful house.
Yeah.
So his father is walking down the road, and after like months and years of not having visited this part of his property, because rich people are terrible.
Yep. Yes, they are.
He's walking through, and he sees this giant, beautiful house on his land, and he's like, "Who the fuck came to my land and built a house that is bigger and more beautiful than mine?"
Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
So he goes up and he knocks on the door. And his son answers. And he's like, "Papa!" And his dad is like, "Hey, where were you?"
Obviously here.
So he says, "Why haven't you been to see us? Like, why haven't you visited your family in forever? Like, we kind of thought that you died of being a thief." And his son is like, "Oh, I've just been working so hard." And his dad is looking around his son's house, and his house is full of like all these gorgeous rugs and like silks.
Stole.
Well, he stole money and then bought things. Like all this fine furniture and like beautiful paintings, like luxurious foods and wines and everything. And then he just has like also like sacks of silver and gold coins strewn around his house. So his dad's looking around, and his son's like, "Yeah, I've just been super busy with like work and stuff, so I haven't had time to check in. And I kind of figured you wouldn't really approve of like my job."
Yeah.
And his dad is like, "I mean, a job is a job is a job." And he's like looking at the money with like dollar signs over his eyes. He's like, "Work is work, you know, like, I'm just glad that you have a job."
His father was Mr. Krabs.
Yeah. He's like, "I'm just glad that you have a job that like makes you happy and makes you money, you know, because that's the most important thing is like, it's important to work, but it's also important to be successful. And you've clearly done that. So like, I don't know how I could possibly not be proud of you for this." And the son is like, "Oh, that's a relief. I'm so glad." And his dad is like, "But like, what I am mad about is that you have all of this and you haven't sent any of it to your family. Like, have you just forgotten about us?" And the son is like, "Oh, Papa, I would never." And he hands him a big old sack of money.
Yeah.
And the dad is like, "Wee-hoo!"
Wee-eye!
Yeah, wee-eye! And he takes the money home and buys a bunch of nice shit, I assume.
Yeah, sure.
A couple weeks later, he comes back to visit his son, and his son is like, "Dad, it's so good to see you. I'm so glad you're here." And he gives him another sack of money. And the dad is like, "Cool. This is great. I love it." So he goes and he spends the money, and he comes back a third time. Jesus. And his son is like, "Dad, I'm so glad to see you." And he hands him a third sack of money.
Okay.
No. And the dad is like, "I don't understand this." He's like, every time I come to your house, it is bigger and nicer, and you have more money. You are giving me sacks of money, and then I come back, and there's more sacks of money than there were before. Like, a sack of money to you is nothing, which is crazy. Yeah. Like, and the son is like, "Well, you know, like, I work hard." He says, "I work steadily and conscientiously." So he's like, "I just, you know, hard work. It'll get you there." You know what I mean? Like, you just gotta really rise and grind.
You know, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, Dad.
And his dad is like, "You know what? Your profession actually sounds great. Like, can I learn how to do what you do?" And the son is like, "Look, it's you have to kind of like have the skill for it. It's not something where like, if you're older and more experienced, you're necessarily better at it. It's kind of like online marketing."
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know, like, older people aren't really as good at my job as I am. I'm very good at my job. So like, I can't promise that like you would be good at it and make a bunch of money also. And the dad is like, "Oh, well, I mean, I'm very rich and cool and smart, so I feel like I'll be fine. And the son is like, okay, well, listen, I will show you how I make my money. Come back tonight, wear dark clothes, bring an empty sack.
Okay.
And the dad is like, sick. Thanks, my son. So that night, the father shows up all in black with an empty sack, and the son comes out of his house also all in black, also with an empty sack.
Sure.
Night falls, and they head into town, and they stop outside of the bank.
Oh, no.
And the father is like, is this where you do your work? And the son is like, yeah. So what I'm going to need you to do is like stand here by the door. Just watch. I'm going to go in. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to fill up this sack, come back out, trade sacks with you, fill up your sack, and then we're going to get going. And the dad is like, okay, yeah, totally. And so he's standing outside of the bank while his son is inside. And he starts to get like bored. He's like looking around at like this like wall in the like foyer entryway of the bank, and he's like looking around, he's like looking at all the paintings, and he's looking at the floor and stuff, and he starts to like twiddle his thumbs and like do a weird little dance. And then he sees this like thing on the wall, and he's like, what's that? And he touches it and dies.
What?
Because it is a live electrical wire.
Holy shit.
So he gets instantly electrocuted to death. He
Oh
falls
God.
down on the floor, dead. His son comes out with a sack full of money, and he's like, oh, what the hell? Like, I left for 10 minutes. And he, like, goes and he checks, and his dad is dead. And he's like, aw, dang it. Shit. Oh, shit. Okay, so now there's a dead body in this bank. It's my dad. And he tries to pick him up and drag him out of the bank, and his dad is too heavy. And he's like, okay, well, I can't leave him here, because if they come in the morning, they see a bunch of missing money, and then they see my dad is dead, they're gonna come to me and my mom with questions.
Yeah.
Like, why was your dad
dressed all in black
in a bank
they're gonna see
that
his
has been,
house
I guess,
full of
steadily
money.
losing money? Yeah, exactly. So, but he can't drag him out. He's like, if I take the time to drag him out of here, I'm going to get caught. So what he does is he takes a knife and he cuts off his dad's head, and he puts it in the empty sack.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, this is hardcore.
Oh,
like,
that got real fast.
Yeah, the storyteller was like, are you sure that's the ending? So he cuts off his dad's head, he puts it in an empty sack, and he goes back to his house with his, like, one sack of money and his one sack of dad. So the thinking is, like, they won't be able to tell who it is if he doesn't have his head.
Sure.
So they won't.
They haven't invented fingerprinting yet.
Yeah, or recognizing the clothes that someone was wearing.
Well, he was wearing all black.
Yeah, but he had them.
It's all Louis Vuitton.
Just Prada, head to toe.
He has his wallet and his ID card in his pocket.
Damn
it,
and they're like, who could this be? They didn't have, like, investigation yet.
No, nothing.
Figuring things out hadn't been invented.
When we say police, we mean the rest of that farmer's goats. Did we say police?
So he goes back home, and the next day, the bank opens up, and they're like, oh my god, there's a headless dead body in the bank.
Oh my god.
And so the police pick up this headless dead body, and they walk around town knocking on people's door, and they're like, hey, do you know this guy?
Oh my god.
Are you missing anyone? Like, has someone disappeared in the past few hours? And also, do they look like this? So they're like carrying this dead body around town, being like, hey, do you know this guy?
Has to look at it. The trauma of this guy cutting off his own dad's head. B, now everybody has to look at a decapitated body.
Yeah, everybody in town. They're like, hey, you know this guy? And he just, like, lolls forward and, like, bits of, like, neck tissue to fall out. It's nasty. They've
put a little hat on the neck stump just to make it fun.
Yeah, it's like a little wig on. They're like, we think this might be what his hair looked like. So they're like parading this corpse around town, being like, hey, do you know this guy? And the son is back up at his father's house. He makes a point to stay with his mom all day long, because he knows that they're going to come and ask questions. Even if they don't know that it's him, they're going to ask everyone in town who this body is.
Because that's their only investigation.
Yeah,
tactic.
So he sees the police coming up the road with this dead body in between them.
Oh my god.
And he turns to his mom, and he hands her a stick of sugarcane and a sharp knife. And he's like, Mom, I need you to peel this sugarcane. And she's like, okay. And she starts peeling the sugarcane. Also,
she hasn't seen him in a really long time.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, oh my god, Mom, I'm so glad to see you.
Yeah, peel the sugarcane.
So he hands her a sharp knife and the sugarcane, and she starts to peel the sugarcane, right? Mm-hmm. And the police get to the door, and they knock, and he opens the door, and his mom sees this dead body, and she, like, is like, ah! And so he, like, turns around, and he takes the knife that she's holding, and he, like, presses it into her hand a little bit, so that her hand is cut. And she sees the blood on her hand, and he's like, oh my god, Mom, you cut yourself. And she's like, ah! And then she passes out, because she can't handle the sight of blood.
Oh my god, he just cut his mom.
Yeah.
I guess it's like small potatoes, because he just decapitated his dad.
Yeah. And so his mom, like, is passed out, and he's, like, slapping her on the face, and he's like, Mom, wake up! And he turns to the police officers, and he's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. She's so delicate and sensitive that she can't handle the sight of blood. So, like, I'm really sorry. Can you guys, like, leave? And they're like, oh my god, we're so sorry. We probably shouldn't be parading this corpse around town.
He didn't have to cut her hand. They were bringing a decapitated body there. She would have passed out, it sounds like.
Yeah, but she might have been like, oh my god, my husband, and then passed out. So he was trying to make sure that they didn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So she passes out, and the police are like, oh my god, we're so sorry. We shouldn't have shown her this dead corpse body. We're just gonna go. And he's like, that's probably best.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So then they never find out who this body is.
She never goes to the police? She never, like, my husband never came back?
No.
Okay, cool.
I guess not. Maybe
Good.
she didn't like him very much.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, nobody ever finds out who the body was. He goes and he buries his dad's head out in the field, and, yeah, he gets away with it. And that's the end of the story. Like, he restores his family's honor. They're not under investigation for murder and stealing everything in the bank. And that's the end. Which, again, Diane Wolkstein heard the story and was like, are you sure that's how this ended?
Okay, I will say, what I thought the setup was going to be, this is how I thought it was going to end.
Mm-hmm.
I thought when his dad kept coming back and was like, wow, more gold or money, and, like, when he just kept going back, I thought the setup was going to be that the son had been going into his house and taking some of his money and then coming back and then just giving the same sack of money that belonged to his dad back to his dad each time.
That seems like it's where it's going.
Yeah.
Again, which is, like, why she was like, this is a weird story. It, like, goes from being, like, a fun little, like...
I want to say, I really liked his... Even though I don't like that he was killing that guy's goats, I do like all the schemes. Like, the plans are really clever.
Yeah, he's great at being a thief. It goes from being, like, a fun, like, folktale about a thief to, like, a full, like, true crime.
Bank robbery.
Murder.
There's, like, a
heist gone wrong.
Yeah. There's a live wire in this story.
Yeah.
And, like, it starts with a shoemaker and a goat. So, like, I really didn't see that going.
Yeah, I know, right? And she also, Diane Wolkstein specifically says, she was like, are you sure there's, like, a bank and, like, electricity in this story? And like, that seems, like, weirdly modern for this very ancient-sounding folktale. And she, like, talked to Willie, who told her the story, and his mom. And they were both like, yeah, that's how the story goes.
That's the story. We don't know what to tell you.
So, yeah, that's the story.
Very fun.
There's so much weird shit that happens in that story, and I love it so much. I love his tricks. He's very smart.
He is.
I love him as a trickster. It's great. Don't understand why it went the direction that it did, but I also liked that and had a good time. So that's why I told this story. So Diane Wolkstein collected these stories from Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
She went and just, like, asked around and was like, hey, do you have any stories? And she collected, like, hundreds and then narrowed it down to 27 that she put in this book, The Magic Orange Tree.
Mm-hmm.
I looked her up. At first, I was really interested because the back of this book has a quote from P.L. Travers. It is a joy to have this book, not only to read it, but to listen to it. The Magic Orange Tree is a gift. P.L. Travers is the author of Mary Poppins.
Wow!
Which is crazy. And I was like, I thought Mary Poppins was much older. Turns out that the author of Mary Poppins lived to be 97 years old. She was born in 1899, and she passed away when this book was published, like a week before this book was published, but she had an advance copy, and she loved it.
And they read it to her.
Yeah.
Cute.
So she loved this book, P.L. Travers, and I was like, that's crazy that this book had the pull to get in the hands of P.L. Travers, the author of Mary Poppins. So I was like, okay, who is Diane Wolkstein?
Yeah.
So I looked her up. Diane Wolkstein is the first and only official storyteller of New York City.
What?
She had an official city position within the Parks Department of New York City.
Whoa.
From 1967 to 1971, where she was the official storyteller of New York.
Cool.
She would go, she went to the New York City Parks Department and was like, hey, you guys should hire me, and here's why. And, like, convinced them that they needed an official storyteller, which is crazy. She just went to them and was like, what if?
And then she just told them a bunch of stories.
And then she made up a job, and then they gave it to her.
Amazing. Amazing.
So, 5 days a week, she would go around to 10 city parks over the course of 5 days out of the week, and she got paid $40 per week to go to these parks and tell stories to, like, the kids in the areas around the parks.
I want that
which was
job.
Great. Super, super cool. The reason why her job ended in 1971 was because of the financial crisis that happened in 1971.
Yeah.
The city lost a lot of money. They weren't fiscally able to continue to pay her the $40 a week to be the city's official storyteller, but they did give her the lifetime title of New York City storyteller.
Wow.
Which is awesome. I absolutely love it. In 1980, she co-founded the New York City Storytelling Center with Gioia Timpanelli. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, and Laura Sims, which was a storytelling collective which basically trained people to be storytellers. And they would go to the Hans Christian Andersen statue that is in Central Park every week, every Saturday, and they would tell stories. And it was something, that the Storytelling Center did every single Saturday. And that is something that continues to this day.
That's amazing.
Every Saturday from June through September, you can go to the Hans Christian Andersen statue in Central Park at 11 a.m. every Saturday between June and September and hear stories.
I want to do that job.
I know. Here's the other thing.
Yeah.
She is fascinating. She was an activist, specifically like anti-racist, anti-sexist activist in like the 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
She studied in Paris under Etienne Decroux as a mime.
Cool.
She just went to Paris and became a mime.
You know, as you
under
do.
like a very famous mime instructor.
Sure.
She went all over the world. She has a handful of books published. She did a bunch of works in translation and stuff like that that she brought from all around the world. Just a truly like amazing, prolific storyteller that revitalized the idea of storytelling in New York City. Massive, prominent figure, amazing. She passed away in 2013 while she was in Korea, maybe? No, she was in, I can't remember where, but she was collecting stories and she had a massive heart attack and died.
No!
But literally like in the middle of making another book. I love her so much. I think that's how she would have wanted to go.
Yeah.
Just like in the middle of hearing a story.
Did
was
they
like,
publish-
oh, that's so good. And
Did
then
they
died.
publish that book?
I don't know. I didn't have a chance to look it up, but I love her. I'm obsessed with her, and I want to be her.
The Orange Tree.
Yes, The Magic Orange Tree by Diane Wolkstein. I love also that it's specifically at the Hans Christian Andersen statue in New York City.
Yeah,
she was like,
that's lovely.
This is storytelling.
That's iconic.
This is where it happens. I just love it. Every single thing that I found out about her was the most interesting thing I found out about a person, perhaps in my entire life. I have a quote from her from a 1992 interview with Clem Richardson of the Daily News. She said, each time I tell a story that I love, I appreciate it in a different way. If it doesn't move you, it won't move anyone else when you tell it. You're really sharing your heart, exchanging love with your listeners, which is awesome. She also did a bunch of work transforming like unused and unnecessary parking lots and like abandoned buildings and stuff in New York City into public parks for the kids and everything.
Great.
Yeah, for kids and stuff.
For kids and stuff.
Love her. I love her.
Amazing.
I love her.
I also love her.
Amazing.
Great.
I love her. Anyways, Diane Wolkstein, Magic Orange Tree, The Master Thief.
I love it.
I want to think about her for the rest of my life.
Me too.
I want to be her.
I'm really
I want to be
sad
the official New York
I'm really
City
sad that she
storyteller.
died. That's a cool lady.
Also, specifically, the storytelling that she did in the public parks is what we do on this podcast. She would tell fairy tales, folk tales, mythology, just literally any kind of story. She would do different stories.
We're just channeling our inner Diane Wolksteins.
I love her. I love her. I love her. This is now a Diane Wolkstein stan podcast.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I love her.
We'll fight anybody.
It's just going to be me saying I love her for half an hour.
Well, that was sort of I love her.
sort of Diane Wolkstein for life.
All right. Well,
cool.
We done did it.
That was sort of the story.
That was a great one.
Thanks for being with us, guys.
Yeah, guys, you have a good week. We already passed it, but this episode is being recorded the day after International Women's Day, so shout out to all the cool ladies.
Yeah, this episode brought to you by women.
Honestly, this episode is brought to you by women.
It is.
Sponsored
You're
by
welcome.
two ladies. Diane Wolkstein fan club.
Yeah.
All right, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful week.
And don't get tricked by Fox Spirit.
Ooh, guys, if by the time this episode comes out in 2 weeks, if something crazy has happened, we're all gonna you all owe me $2. Okay, bye.
But with it, the way that everything is going, something crazy and terrible will happen in the next 2 weeks.
You all owe me $2. So,
bye.
Bye. Let's test it.
Let's test it, indeed.
I mean, so far this looks pretty good. I mean, this is a much quieter full voice thing.
I guess it just depends. Hey, Alex? Can you yell really quickly?
Thanks,
babe!
The Lion of Love! Ooh, okay.